in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
And, dude, I am super excited to welcome our guest onto the show.
Oh, jumping right into it.
Yeah, to talk about this. Well, if we're going to have some banter here. I don't want to leave because we'll go for 25 minutes.
Yeah, but normally we make the guests sweat it out for just a little while.
Sure, we can do that.
So this is one of your friends. So maybe it's you giving your friends the hi-hat that we've invited on here, and I'm just accustomed to that.
Well, I think it's because it's a lady. I feel the need to be more respectful in the situation. The dudes can wait.
Fuck that.
Oh.
Same. We do the same to her. We do to everybody else.
Oh, that's your
They're
equal.
all equal.
You're equal. And
yeah.
I respect that.
Fuck off. The show is about us.
Yeah, it's true.
And occasionally we let people in for some of the love, too, and be like,
right.
You get the hell out, though. This is ours.
It's not called the top 10 and guests. It's called the top 10.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying.
Eventually, maybe one day it is and guests once we're old and just tired.
It's a variety show at that point.
Please come on and carry our water because we're so tired. We're so tired.
At that point, we're a
And
business.
I think she could.
We can do it. Yeah, of course she could.
I think
of course
she could. Some of the other schmucks we've had on, but maybe
please.
not.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe not.
She's elevating the class of the show. That's for damn
it's
sure.
nice. It's nice.
Well, without further ado, let's welcome. You've seen her on the Schmodown. You've maybe had her carry you around or walk you around Universal Studios as a VIP escort, but most of all, you've seen her on numerous networks and YouTube shows as a host and pundit, and a person who runs the Patreon for Schmodown so effectively as well. Without further ado,
Sure.
Emma Fyffe.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I feel really honored that you feel that I'm elevating the class level of this show.
Of course.
But Nost, I respect that you're like, no, we're going to treat her the way we treat any other guest.
Fair enough.
You're all the same.
Yeah, equal opportunity.
All the same. As my former manager, please, I have nothing. As what, my only manager.
It's true. Yeah, you never had a manager.
Yeah, we never did.
Otherwise.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
How funny.
The Dagnino thing's a little weird, so yeah, I hear you. It's
I know,
weird to have a
the
manager.
Horsemen did not have a manager until Dagnino.
Some would argue that we didn't need one, but we're figuring it out as we go along.
Thing though, I like Dagnino. So that wouldn't bother
it would
me.
be fun, right?
I have zero problem with that.
Yeah.
He's definitely a person with a lot of vision and opinions.
Yeah,
so.
that's for sure. We just did the Manager Bowl, which is already up, right? So
yes,
we can
it's
talk
already
about
posted,
it.
Yeah.
Every number Tom selected for me in the third round, I missed the question. And the one number I picked for myself, I got it right. So for the future.
So what the manager picks?
The player.
It wasn't that. It was that in the Manager Bowl, some of these managers were acting as though they personally were competing.
Yes.
Who are the other managers?
Who would you think?
I could take a guess.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
take a stab.
Isn't Jay Washington?
Yeah,
Sure was.
Number one.
Sure was.
I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Haven't seen. But
Yeah.
who are the other? I don't know who the other
Jay
managers
Washington was
Kaiser.
who is he came in with Kevin Smets. He's his manager, and
The
now
Dungeon.
he's kind of
Haven't met him.
Yep.
collected a few other people. Also,
The
Robert
Dungeon.
Meyer Burnett.
Robert Ryan Burnett is a manager.
He's a manager.
Yeah.
I didn't see that turn.
Yeah.
At no point did I see it. Although that coat is very managerial. If
I
he's still
suppose
wearing
so.
that.
Yeah, it's definitely cuts a real authority in some, some nations. I don't know.
He manages
seems like the brain Heenan with the
Yeah,
jacket
I
on.
can see that. He manages the family.
Yes, and then also Grace and Ken, who were the least participatory managers.
They just walk people up and then walk to the audience and maybe went and got lunch, I think.
Good for them. Good for
They were
them. Enjoy
across the
yourself.
street at Wood Ranch
They
having a
were
margarita.
enjoy. It was watching it on the live stream.
So what is the manager picking? What is that?
They pick a player to play for them,
Yeah. Gotcha.
and whoever won got to run the league for a month.
Yeah, gets to run the league.
whichever
for
manager?
now.
Right.
Yeah, whichever competitor won.
So who won?
Drew McWeeny,
Son of a bitch.
who is represented by Robert Meyer Burnett.
Yeah. So now Burnett runs the league for a month. When in the future, when they set it up.
Yeah.
I was going to give myself 7 title shots. I had I had all my plans set up.
That's what
7.
Tom was going to set up for you.
Yes, I told Tom, I was like, 7 title shots, Tom. until I get the
Want
belt.
What, a title shot across all spectrums? You're saying if you lose it, then you have...
Yes, I wanted a one match against all the champions for all the belts.
Oh.
That would have been the thing.
I feel like, that would have been great, especially because of your whole all the belts.
Yeah.
And then I could retire.
Yeah.
I win all the belts.
Yeah.
I've accomplished everything.
And then
I can retire.
You've done everything you needed to do in the Schmodown.
And I can retire once and
Fun.
for all.
Never
All
going
right.
to retire. I will drag you
I come
away
so
from that.
close.
I know. You come so close to retiring from almost everything I've heard you talk about. And yet you still
And yet,
soldier on.
he has a new podcast every week.
Well, what can I do?
Done doing podcasts. So I'm thinking about doing this very niche wrestling soccer fan podcast. The Venn diagram is so thin,
Yes, but for
a
those
niche.
5 people, man, they're gonna
Huge
love
supporters.
this. They're
I've
gonna
got
love
something
it.
to say. I've got something to say. Anyway,
and then does KO, does he have his own family?
K.O. Kalinowski.
Yeah,
no, he's,
that's
he's-
Grace and Ken.
Yeah, it's Grace and Ken.
They manage
Corruption.
corruption.
Yeah.
So that's what it's called.
Yes.
Their corruption.
Yeah.
I like the family.
With a
I
KO.
like that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Drew McWeeney's in the family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew Guy's in the family.
Okay.
Who else is in the family?
Who else is in the family?
Was Janine in the
these
family? No,
days?
she's in Jay's.
No, I really think that's it right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's a small family.
Yeah.
They're
It's a little
growing.
family.
They're growing.
Not very Italian.
No,
of
no,
you.
no. Yeah.
They're not good Catholics. I'll tell you that much.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
But
it for right now.
I've got ideas for next year. If I do retire, become a manager, I've got ideas for next year. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
The tournament will show itself to me if I am supposed to still be doing this or not. Because I lost again on this.
Now there are ancient proverbs for the Schmodown. What the fuck is
The
this?
tournament will reveal itself
Exactly.
to you.
It's like some Mortal Kombat setup. Oh, he got the special invite. The wormhole opened up and sucked you into.
to the island that just like, where is this island supposedly in
Are
the
you
Mortal
Frank
Kombat
Dukes?
film? Yeah.
I'm here for the Kumite.
I'm blood sporting the shit out of that.
Yeah, so it's been around underground for generations. The Schmodown. Oh, that's great.
We'll see. Anyway, this week we are counting down, as you can see by the title of the episode, we're counting down the top 10 superhero sequels of all time. And this could be everything. It could be DC, Marvel. It could be independent superhero. It could be animated superheroes. I'm sure one of somebody.
be.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody's.
It
I
could.
knew that might make somebody's
Depends.
list. Anything superhero related that has a sequel. It was in contention for this. And there's a lot.
There are a lot of
Right?
superhero sequels.
There's
like
a
a
lot.
lot. And a lot are not great.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
they're-
Yeah.
It's
You're
not,
surprised.
yeah, and it's not so much that they're not great, but as I was going through, particularly looking at some of the individual MCU titles, with some very glaring exceptions, which have made my list.
Yeah.
There were a lot that I went, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know.
I would agree with that. Which is kind of like the hidden secret of the MCU
Yeah.
is how bad their sequels.
Because the
depends.
individual ones
Yeah.
are, because we think so much about the big crossover
Right,
things, and
right.
one of the things on my list really is more in crossover territory
Yeah,
than
yeah,
it
that's
is
fine.
it's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
yeah, the sequel counts.
And it technically has a single character title. So
True.
But yeah, it was really interesting looking like, yeah,
Yeah.
most of their first sort of intro movies were good.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them too, it's like when you look at it, you're like, oh, they haven't really had sequels, or they just straight up haven't even had their own film. They've only been in
Yeah.
the crossover
That's
pieces.
fair.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
interesting.
There's only been a few characters that have gotten a repeat
Yeah,
run.
Yeah.
Certain ones I would love. I'd love
Yeah.
to see a Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
sure. Which is
definitely.
coming.
That's my number
Yeah.
one.
It's coming. So
Yeah, it is,
Jason
but
said he's
where's-
writing it.
Exactly.
You can do anything in that world.
Yes.
Literally anything.
Yep.
Let's have some fun, guys.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, do some Guardians type stuff where you have to go to other worlds. And
Yeah.
Strange can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, we're doing this for Spidey 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man Far From
Far
Home.
From Home.
Yeah.
So we had Homecoming, Far From Home,
And next it's going to be
Home and
Home
Away?
Alone.
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Home
Sure.
Alone, I think so. Spider-Man with those paint cans.
I don't know if I like that they're getting rid of the suit in the second or whatever after the first opening when he's got the metallic and he's on vacation.
Yeah.
I want him to go back to being that Spidey as opposed to having the advanced tech.
Oh,
Right,
you don't
yeah.
like the spider suit?
I know I like it for
Iron
the
Spider
context
suit?
of where they've used it.
Oh,
But
yeah,
going
right.
forward, I like Spidey.
Yeah,
just
you want a
kinda
little
being a
classic
web slinger.
Spider-Man action.
Yeah.
I like that. I support it.
I can respect that. If you hear any loud noises going on outside of our voices, we are at Collider, and apparently there's a late night VR session going on. So
I believe they're playing tennis.
they're playing tennis.
They're playing
yes.
tennis. On
Yes.
the Oculus, whatever the new one
Yeah,
is.
the new one, the Oculus.
I'm not
it's not
calling-
the Rift, it's the Oculus.
Oculus.
Oh, why am I totally blanking? It's the new wireless one, though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's really cool.
Well, because I've played on the other one that they have.
Oh yeah.
So I turned to Dennis and I was like, "Where's the laptop? Don't you get to follow along anymore?" Not knowing. He's like, "Don't need it anymore." And now this unit is selling like crazy because you don't have to have all that additional
Yeah.
hardware just
Yeah.
to do something like this. Now I might buy one.
Wow.
Well, because I didn't want to have to dedicate, figure out the laptop and all that jazz.
Right.
And do more of a setup. And it seemed like it had to be so close to a sensor before.
Yeah.
And now they're 15 yards apart.
We have too many jagged corners in our place. I couldn't do virtual reality in our place. There's too many jagged furniture.
You can set your safe zone to be pretty small.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then
Yeah.
that's possible. I don't know how tennis. You'd have to run back and forth, right, with tennis? I would imagine so.
Well, most of the time with VR, unless you're doing something like the Void, which they have at various locations throughout the U.S.,
Okay.
perhaps some overseas. I don't know. I've only gone in Glendale and Anaheim. But they basically have sort of like VR obstacle courses
Okay.
that have sensors all throughout them. And you're sort of, have you done like Secrets of the Empire or the Wreck-It
no,
Ralph?
I
I've done
keep
Wreck-It
turning.
Ralph.
You didn't
Yeah.
wreck it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're really fun because you actually
Okay.
get to move around.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's-
but most home console VR, in order to move, you kind of teleport. So it's like you just kind of point your arm in the direction that you want to move.
Oh.
You press down the button, you let it go, and then you've moved to that spot rather than
interesting.
physically moving around.
Like in the boxing one, you chugged your arms like you were
Yeah.
a choo-choo
yeah.
to
Oh,
run
yeah. It's in
forward.
order to go forward.
Oh, wow.
So maybe in tennis you do something like that where you shuffle your hands.
Yeah,
forward.
exactly.
yeah.
In the direction
And
that
then-
you want to run.
Yeah. Because otherwise, people could blow out like ACLs and stuff as they're playing on clay and trying to fly
Exactly.
around the
I
hoop.
Yeah.
fully expect to hear someone tear something out there. I fully expect to hear it. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, it could happen.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do that for Spider-Man Far From Home, top 10 superhero movie sequels of all time. We're going to count them all down. Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Yes, once we set a topic, we all go our individual ways and create personal top 10 lists. We show back up here. The way a three-person show works is I do my bottom five, John does his bottom five, you do your bottom five. I
Okay.
do my next three, he does
Great.
his next three, you do your next three.
Okay.
Then we trade one apiece. Once we've revealed our personal top 10 lists, we create the shows between the three of us.
Excellent.
Boom.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, man.
So I'll jump right in.
All
All
right.
right.
My number, lot to choose from, like you said before.
Yeah, there is.
Lot to choose from. So with my 10, I threw this one in just for me. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
I have it on my list too.
Do you?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Is it in the bottom five?
six?
It is in the bottom five.
Okay.
There you
Yeah.
What number do you have it at?
9, actually.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect placement.
Cool. Go ahead. I do not have it on my list, so proceed.
Well, this movie is so underrated. I enjoyed the first Hellboy movie as well, but this movie it's a fairy tale. It's a dark fairy tale with a sort of superhero twist to it.
Okay.
And it was nominated for best makeup design. It didn't win, but I mean that for me, and also with all of my list, I feel like there is certainly context of the circumstances under which I saw it. And I remember going to see this movie with literally no expectations whatsoever, except that I kind of liked the first one. Right. And I remember just, especially when they go into like the underground cities, because basically the whole concept is it's totally a fairy tale. It's like there was a war between the magical creatures and the humans, and and in the end, basically they came to a truce where the magical creatures agreed that like they would live in the forests and the secret cities, and humans would stick to like the real cities. So there's this underground city, and the Golden Army, basically, in order to control it, you have to have this crown. And so there's 3 pieces of the crown. It's great.
Wow.
It's so much
Well,
fun.
I need to see it, I guess.
And then the mechanized warriors.
Oh, it's incredible.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
after in the fight at the end, it does. And the story, like, I wish they had gotten a third one on that because they're visited by the angel of death right before they go in, and he foretells their future, like the fucking Oracle of Delphi. And just like, wow, the stakes of the third one, and you've given us this magical realm now.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't wait to see a third. They never got to do it. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and it just really, I think, showcased what's so great about Guillermo del Toro's filmmaking. Like, to me, I look at Hellboy 2 and I go, that to me feels like it was directed by del Toro.
Yeah.
Well, it is the
interesting.
most realized of his,
Yes.
his imagination.
Yeah.
Because all the eccentric characters that sometimes are slightly jarring in his other movies fit. He chooses correctly how to fit them in, and creates interesting ones. The cartographer guy, he looked like an old Scrimshaw. on his face kind of thing. And you're like, this is so crazy interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they'd made a third.
Yeah, Hellboy 2, Golden Army. So good. Revisit
All
it
right,
if you
fair
have
enough.
not recently.
All right, what's your number 9?
Get ready to say the words punt.
Okay.
And get ready to roll those eyes. You want to freshen those up, you know what I mean? Give them a little stretch.
Don't you fucking say it.
It's going to be Logan.
You're an idiot. Massive punt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it punt for you too?
It is for me because it's not bottom 5 for me.
Cool. All right, what's your number 8?
8 for me is Deadpool 2.
Yeah, it didn't make my list.
Didn't make my list. I was back and forth between my 10 and Deadpool 2. So
Couldn't believe it was, to me, almost as good as the first one.
yeah.
Because the first one was just like this crazy anomaly. I didn't know anything of the character other than he was foul-mouthed, told jokes, and he has a couple like eccentric hooks type of thing. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
And to walk out going, wow, comic books have taken a turn. I didn't know this didn't exist when I read comic books.
Yeah.
So the second one for me, the expectation was like, I don't know how to get back to the smarminess and just can he be that charming and likable all over again when you already know all the hooks?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was even more so on some level.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked for me to no end, and the stupid little payoffs of like when they're scanning, the camera scans across the map, and in the middle he drew himself in as a character of like sitting on top of sequel money because sequel money makes,
Yeah, I remember that.
sequels make so much money, or the cocaine that he does in the second one. That,
Yeah.
an homage to the first one, and all these like random things left and right. The Brad Pitt coming in for the most needless cameo.
Yes.
I love that he signed on for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
It makes me enjoy the movie that much more. The singularity of, what is his name? He's on Catastrophe. Rob Delaney?
Oh, yeah,
Yes, it's Rob Delaney.
Of just that character could only exist in a Deadpool movie because there's no way he gets that much run in any other superhero film.
Peter, right? Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
The character's name.
Yeah.
But there's no way. There's no way an average dude, and that's the second one.
Yeah.
It's great because now the cabbie or his Uber driver, whatever
Oh,
it is,
yes,
is
yeah.
upset because he's just like,
Yeah, Dopinder. Yeah.
What kind of bullshit is this?
Yes.
And it's just like he was, you're my boy, Blue.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow, they managed to keep a lot of the comedy, So I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I didn't like that they killed her off. Like, I didn't like that because I really loved their love story in the first movie.
Oh,
and
Marina
that,
Baccarin?
Yeah, Marina
Yeah.
Baccarin. I
It's the
love
best in
that.
superhero films.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, 100%.
It's probably one of the most authentic love stories I've ever seen. They both just accept each other for who they are.
Yeah.
What a novel concept.
Yeah.
And I love that so when they killed her off at the beginning, I was like, God damn it. And then as it went forward, they just had her as someone he referenced later on or had these visions for. So that bothered me a little bit. And the kid, I didn't 100% gravitate to his story. But that being said, I loved Domino. She was fantastic. Zazie Beetz. She was so good. I loved getting
Josh Brolin?
the guy Juggernaut. I loved getting Juggernaut again. That was awesome. And I loved so much about the story of him and Brolin. Yeah, all that was great as well. I just wished there was these others parts of it that worked just as much as the first one did for me, and unfortunately, that's why I didn't make my list. Now, that's not a good movie; it just didn't make my top 10.
Yeah, as I say, I went back and forth on this one, and the one that I did put in my number 10 slot. So I'll talk about that when I get to it,
All right, there's a preview.
or when somebody else gets to it.
What's your number 7?
7 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, I have that in my bottom as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Not on your list?
Not on my list. Go ahead.
Well, that's
Okay.
the second time we're right.
Yes.
for us.
Okay, here's the thing is I feel like a lot of people they just I don't know if it's that they wanted an exact repeat of the first Guardians movie, but I feel like this movie gets not unfair criticism so much as people don't look at the really great thing about this movie, which is the whole sort of message of family and your found family. And this is the first time that you get to see Nebula and Gamora really connecting in a way that really pays off in Endgame.
Yeah. True.
And, I love Yondu. And it's just such
His
a
payoff
beautiful...
at the end is
It's such a beautiful story with Yondu
It is.
and Peter Quill and him just
Agreed.
trying to connect with his real dad and this whole idea of this guy's your father, but Yondu was truly your dad, and he really did care about you and raise you. Like I really liked the family aspect of the story.
I agree. It was great.
Yeah, 100%. And I also enjoyed the fact that they looked inward as a story as opposed to just sending them on some zany adventure.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was them, their fractured relationship.
Yeah.
And it's a story that I can follow along with and understand because I can relate to different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and a lot of people harangued it for that. It's like, oh, you tore apart the team for the majority of the movie. He's like, yeah, but now they can go back together.
Exactly.
We can see that mend, and now they can go off with Hemsworth and have a shitload of fun. And, that. They can do the more comedy one because they've done the introspective.
Well, it's like what happens in real families, right? Something comes along, kind of separates the family sometimes. People go their separate ways, but then eventually they work back to each other and are stronger for that experience. So that's certainly what happens. Just because it's not my top 10 doesn't mean I don't love the movie. I do love the movie.
Absolutely.
It's the second time you've had to say that statement, though, and as many different suggestions. So
I'm
Fair
so
point.
curious what your
Fair
movies
points.
are.
Ego, the Living Planet, was great too. Seeing Kurt Russell
Kurt
and
Russell
him
was
have that
awesome.
conversation, and when he realizes that his dad has been doing this for millennia, just the anger
just
in his
trying
face.
to create like a child that could channel his power.
But also, he is going to turn the hive.
Yeah.
To the entire, he's taking over. There's no more free will for all these places if you help him succeed.
Yeah.
It's so good. I remember when we did the review of it. One of my favorite aspects of it is some of the choices that Gunn made when Kurt Russell and Chris Pratt are walking down, and he's taking him through memory lane, where he's from, what he's about, and all that. And they have that little chamber that can visualize
The animation.
memories.
Yeah. That was incredible.
All the different, especially when it got to the mom, it looked like a China doll because that's how he views her.
Yeah.
In this perfect little porcelain
all of them.
figure.
All of them.
But that one was the one which just like, oh my God, that's such a great choice because it's exactly he looks like he's doing good for the world instead of robbing everyone of what they call life.
Yeah.
And I like that we had more with Nebula. That was where you get cemented.
Well, because I feel like, too, Nebula is a character that's just gotten better with every appearance. Because I love Karen Gillan, obviously. I loved her on Doctor Who, and I just think she's tremendously talented. And I feel like by the time, Nebula for me was an absolute standout in Endgame.
Thoroughly. Everyone's been asking me, we've been talking about that. We've been talking about, Oscar, blah, 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 Robert Downey Jr. Karen Gillan is the only one for me that should be nominated out of that movie.
She's
incredible. No,
I know.
right. Probably
It'll never happen, but
it won't. But it should because she's so good in that
she was
movie.
outstanding.
But could they get 2 nominations from that?
I think it's more believable that you get a supporting nomination over a Best Actor or Best Actress nomination.
Well, you could
in
say
a superhero movie.
Technically, they could all submit themselves for Best Supporting.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, technically.
But who's really stood out? And I feel like she did.
Yeah, she really stood out for
her
me.
journey.
And Paul Rudd really stood out for me in
Rudd was
Endgame,
great too.
I
Yeah.
thought that he
I
carried
agree.
a lot of emotional gravitas as well as being comic relief. So.
Agreed.
All right, so
Thor's
moving
cool
on.
too.
Yes.
My 6th then rather is Incredibles 2.
Oh. I did not have that on my
Yeah,
list.
no.
I've talked about it a lot.
He's a massive fan of it.
It's come up. This is the.
I love that
it's
you
been out
love it
for-
so much.
It's been out for 11 months, and I think it's made 3 of my lists.
Yep.
In
Nice.
that 11 months.
Yep.
Something along those lines. I thought it was fantastic. I know that I am not in the majority in that opinion. Don't care. Don't care. I've stated my reasons why. I'll give you the quick Reader's Digest.
give it to me.
Because they've heard me. It's hard to do a sequel this many years later.
Yeah.
And to do it, to still see that the family dynamic is even more rich than it was the first time. The role reversal of the 2 parents, but then there are great little subtle things within it, like when she calls home and she's so excited about she's got this part of her life back and he's struggling with the family. The painting behind her is the same number of individuals in the family. And if you look it up, they're all kind of the size of who they are. And all of them are over on one side. And what would be hers is over here on the left. It just happens to be in the background.
Yeah.
But that is one little note. The villain in it is Screenslaver that is trying to get people off their devices because it's ruining their lives. And it's just a complete time suck. And they managed to do that with Walt Disney. And Disney wants nothing more than every person to be sucked into their screen at all times.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
And the choices they make. I understand the flaws within it, but the balls that it had and the lovingness that they carried out, so much of it, I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I just
Not on my list.
Just not on
for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
God, how many X-Men
I
or
guess
Superman
we're now going to
movies?
find out what is on your list.
I guess so. It's time, right?
Superman 2, Superman 3,
Yeah.
all the way down the bottom 5
Yeah.
is all
Superman
Superman
4,
movies.
Superman Returns.
Superman and Clark, Superman and Joe. All right, my number 10 is Blade 2.
Oh,
Okay.
not on my list.
Oh, yeah, no surprise. It's not one of those that people go back to and watch all the time, but I thoroughly love Blade 2. It's as much as people love the first film, I think he got it right in the second film. Del Toro did, and I like that it's even darker than the first film, a more believable villain, like Stephen. No offense to Stephen Dorff, but in that first film, it's a little dated to think he's a badass, right? And Udo Kier being in it doesn't help either.
Yeah.
But like in this film, you have this new kind of vampire that has, in essence, a Venus flytrap for a mouth. And you're like, holy shit, what can you do with this? And then you put this crew together with Ron Perlman and all this, and you get Wesley having these fantastic, badass martial arts fights on in numerous places that really works. And no, you throw in kind of a hint of a love story with that girl that's in the crew that's going after, because she's the daughter of the main vampire. All of that really works for me, and I think some of Wesley's best work as Blade. And then you get Norman Reedus in there. Which side is he on? I don't know. And you bring back Whistler. It's a little Christopherson. So it's one I go back to more and more. So it's on my list because it's one I go back to and watch a lot.
Sure.
Because I love Wesley Snipes and Blade, and I got into a Twitter battle about this yesterday with JT and McWeeny and Bibiani. But I will defend Wesley Snipes' Blade till the end of time.
Is this the one where they open in Russia?
Yes.
And it's like almost like a bathhouse, and the blood comes. Awesome opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic opening.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in so long.
I agree,
and
I'm saying that now, it's not on my list, but you've now made me want to go back and watch Blade 2 again.
That's what I'm saying. This is one that I go back to. Three you can throw in the wolves, but the 1 and 2 are fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's fair.
But isn't it the predator mouth vampire? Doesn't it also feast on other vampires?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it makes it interesting. Whereas Underworld did it cheesily, this does it like more.
But it's also kind of like, Predator, the last one that came out. Just like, what's more badass than a Predator? A fucking super Predator. And just like, okay, so vampire, super vampire.
Yeah, it's like in
better.
Jurassic Park, how they just keep engineering more intense dinosaurs.
It's
Like, why?
Yeah, and while they're doing that, they also dumb down the IQ of the screenplay.
He's correct.
Over and over and over again.
If I could drown that franchise in the bathwater, I would.
Yeah.
It's just once.
Yeah,
Don't
Jurassic
worry, it's
World.
gulping water
Oh,
on its
boy.
own.
No, it's making all this money. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, number 9 is X2.
I have X2 in my bottom 5 also.
There we go. Wait, not yours, huh?
I just don't think I'm going to go back to it that much.
Really? It's
No.
the only X-Men movie that I like.
It's starting to fade pretty hard.
Well,
It's a
with
strong statement.
I mean, not counting Logan.
One glaring exception.
I think of Logan as its own
Damn
entity.
right. Even though it's a sequel. It's
Yes,
a sequel.
it definitely qualifies as a sequel. X2, I remember just that one feeling more emotionally invested in it than the first one. I think they did a better job at exploring the relationship between the characters. Especially for me, part of what turned me off so much to the first one was that I grew up like neck deep in the X-Men animated series, and so I wanted Rogue to be like a badass adult woman who had a bunch of issues, and instead she was kind of a whiny teenager with a bunch of issues. And I've never liked Anna Paquin as Rogue, but she doesn't do as much in that movie.
Yeah,
so.
she doesn't.
Yeah, well, I think
Smartly so.
after the first one.
Yeah.
Let's shift to, this Hugh Jackman guy is pretty fantastic.
Exactly.
And so is Famke.
And Famke Jensen was so good as Jean Grey, and I mean, dear sweet James Marsden, he's so well cast as
He
Cyclops,
really is.
and it was. I felt like that movie focused more on those 3 characters and their dynamic, and that was always one of the things that I also really liked about the animated series. And I think that the animated series did Cyclops extremely well, and that Marsden got to explore some of that in this film as well. The whole thing of like Cyclops struggling, like, am I making good decisions?
Yeah. I thought the Stryker stuff was really good too.
Yeah.
With Wolverine having Brian Cox play him, and the struggle of him trying to find his identity in the situation. Now, because that's logically the next step. Once you pull him out of his loner life and you put him into a team of people, the motivation to find out who he is, because everyone else seems to know who they are, makes sense.
Yeah.
And so where he goes ties in that Weapon X storyline, which works so well. And then to have Jean sacrifice herself at the end to give you the tease of what could have been awesome, the Dark Phoenix storyline is even better. Because Scott and now Marsden, maybe not this best acting moment, but certainly her doing it is incredible.
Yeah. When I was a kid, though, and I saw this movie, I felt it, and I felt for him. As an adult, maybe I go back and I'm like, that might be a little cheesy.
Yeah,
but
he's a little, but
love
there's
it.
so much about them coming together too, as well.
And I think too that ending excited me so much for them setting up what should have been the Dark. I mean, I guess it was the Dark Phoenix.
It was.
But they also just redid it again.
I know.
By the same writer.
Yeah, and that's going to be the inverse, worst superhero sequels.
Probably. Yeah, right, which we'll do down the road.
Yeah, eventually.
Both of those are on the list.
I would agree. I didn't think anything would rival Quest for Peace, and then those two came out.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand. They made her look like a 32-year-old, like, can I see your manager? Throughout the whole movie. She's got that cardigan robe-like thing, high-waisted jeans, like a white tank top type of...
Can I see your manager?
Yeah, the whole time I'm like, why are we making her look like a 30-something-year-old woman?
Right.
Like, what is... I don't understand. And it's like the full angst of... And we got to kill off this character. I don't even fucking care, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
You're like,
Don't even
who is
fucking
that
care.
again?
Yeah. Don't give a flying fuck about that storyline.
Yeah.
And guess what? Magneto is off somewhere else, but humans are going to pull him back in. Just like, motherfuck.
Yeah.
Motherfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Something.
Magneto to just be around and involved. You know what I mean? Like, that's Magneto's jam. It's just like
Problem is,
fighting for mutants. That's his deal.
With a lot of X-Men movies, though, it's the angst, the teenage angst of the comic book storyline that they just keep redoing.
You know, and that's, I think, why I like X2 so much is because
the
I
least.
didn't feel like it leaned into the teenage angst.
Yeah,
It was
it's the
more
least.
about the adults.
Yeah. It's a great point.
Which I don't mind. Some of look at Spider-Man. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's what Spider-Man's about is teen angst.
Yeah.
But when they're doing it on every age group, has
Yes.
this angst of, I get it, man.
Yeah.
The world hates you, and you're just trying to.
They're just fighting for attention.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
you're
the
fighting
worst.
for equality.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
It's hard to watch though sometimes.
So my number 8 then is Spider-Man 2.
I punt. I have that higher up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I
All
do.
right, all right. Then my number 7, and this was really surprising when it landed here for me, is Avengers Infinity War.
Oh.
Well, that's a punt.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it a punt for you too, or is it not
Okay,
on your list?
can I tell you that I did my list wrong because I didn't think of I think of all of the Avengers as standalone films. So I
really?
didn't include any Avengers
Oh,
sequels at all.
damn.
But
Well, after they make a first Avengers, and you also get introduced
That's
to a couple
true.
characters, that is an origin
I think
story.
okay, so I didn't care, and I think that I'm not alone in like Avengers 2. It's not that I didn't care. Well, Avengers 2 was kind of like,
Oof, yeah, agreed.
No, it's boring.
But so I didn't even think of like Infinity War and Endgame being part of the Avengers series.
Well, that's fair. That's going to be a fun list now.
Yes, it's going to be real fun.
It's clearly
But I respect.
I would hope so. You respect
I would have Avengers
superhero
sequels
movie
on here
making at its
probably.
apex.
Yes.
It's nice that you have respect for that.
So, all right, so we're punting there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then my number 6 is X-Men Days of Future Past.
Don't have that on my list.
Me either.
You are both insane. That is a fantastic fucking film. Better than First Class. I hated First Class, and I love this
Interesting.
movie. Yeah, I just hate First Class.
I like this better than First Class.
Yeah, this
but it
was
still got
great.
flaws.
This is jumping back and forth in time. Wolverine. Now, yes, in the comics, Rogue is the one that goes back, or Kitty Pryde's the one that goes back.
Yes.
And they did a version of that, didn't they? Or Rogue edition, or whatever it was. They did another version of this movie that had a little more of the storyline from the comics weaved in. But I love this story because you get a Charles that you've never seen on screen, which is an unconfident, not sure Charles falling into addiction, possibly. All of that because he's afraid
There's
of.
no possibly.
Well, okay, falling into
most
addiction.
definitely.
Yeah, all right. Because he's afraid of what his decisions and the ramifications of his decisions have on other people, the real life consequences in his world of that. You have Beast and his anger about the situation with Mystique. You have Jennifer Lawrence actually dialing into a movie as Mystique. It might be the last
made her
time
the
she's
star.
done this. Right.
Yeah.
And she's good in it, though.
Yeah. Now, the set, pieces at the end are second to none.
Right.
When he's got the freaking, stadium. And
That's
lifts that
RFK
up.
Stadium in
Yeah,
D.C.
yeah. And then makes that as a barrier. I
Yeah.
was like, that is gorgeous. Basically, just like a fucking invading army. And
Yeah.
just boom, now this area's under siege by me and me alone.
Yeah.
So good.
You get the Sentinels. You get Nixon. You get Bolivar Trask with Peter Dinklage. That was great. But it was so good to see Professor X and Magneto, to see them back together again. And that being Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
yeah.
Seeing that, but then seeing their younger versions and what Wolverine has to go through to bring them all together. And then at the end, when he fixes everything, that moment of Logan waking up in the mansion, and they basically said, X-Men 3 never fucking happened.
Yeah, they retconned.
They retconned it completely to have Famke come back and James come back. And everybody, I was just like so... Even Kelsey Grammer got a little shout out as Beast, and I was super fucking happy with that.
Yeah. I certainly don't dislike Days of Future Past. It just didn't really come to mind for me.
I respect that. For whatever reason
honestly,
it does for me.
It's a couple of things. The Ellen Page, basically she just sits there and like waves her hands around an actor who's pretending to sleep. And she's like, okay, this we don't really need any of this. Like every time they flash back and you're like, they're almost closing in.
I was going to say it was like almost a little bit insulting in a way that they just had Kitty Pryde be an accessory to her own story. It's like she really, I agree with you, Nose. She really didn't need to be there. And I really like Ellen Page, and I think she's great in that role, but she didn't do anything in that movie.
Yeah.
So
when it got to the retcon at the end, I just literally in the theater went, oh, okay.
Yeah,
like I wasn't excited about the possibility. I was just like,
you know what? I think,
clusterfuck.
But
like
I think
X-Men
that's and I think that is some of it too. Is I feel like I totally get where you're coming from. The like, oh, we retconned it. We're bringing all these people back together, which was awesome, but also not all that unexpected. I feel like they were kind of setting up a reset with First Class and then jumping right into Days of Future Past.
Yeah. But what can I tell you?
I respect it.
I love it to pieces.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, good stuff. All right, moving on. All right, Emma, you're 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6.
All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 10, I had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which we already talked about. I had Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, which we also already talked about. X2 was my 8, so already talked about.
Perfect.
This next one, you're going to get ready to punt, because it is The Dark Knight.
What? I can't. Punt. Punt. Matt, we have asked the wrong person to be the guest on this show, I think.
No, Matt and I have had a lot of the same ones.
Matt?
Yeah. But the thing is, there's kind of like a few that are indisputable facts.
Sure.
And now you're going, hey, man, this fucking Earth is flat. And you're like,
That's not.
I don't know what in YouTube you've been watching.
I'll get a little more into my feelings about this, which I will 100% are influenced by how hyped this movie is.
Okay.
We'll talk a little bit about my psychological issues there when we get closer to it. And then 6, this is maybe going to be a punt as well. I have Captain America Civil War.
Ooh, not on my list.
Well, it's a slight pump, but it's my number 5.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Civil War? I'm
Civil
sorry.
War.
I chose Winter Soldier.
Right.
I might have both on my list.
Oh, that's fair. Well, go ahead and talk about this.
No, I love Civil War. Civil War was one of those ones that I went into, especially given how sort of lackluster the second Avengers film was.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, I loved Winter Soldier. It's on my list. It's higher on my list. But Civil War, I thought once the Russo brothers did Civil War, when I heard that they were the ones that were going to be doing Infinity War and ultimately Endgame, I went, this is in great hands. Because I feel like with Civil War, they did such a good job of making me understand why all of the characters were there. Nobody felt like they were a throwaway.
True.
And I understood everybody's point of view.
Yeah.
Literally everyone's. I mean, I got it. It's a complicated story, and ultimately it was about these two people, particularly Captain America and Iron Man, being at odds with one another. And you understood where they were coming from, but you also understood where Baron Zemo was coming from, like kind of orchestrating this whole thing.
Yeah.
So exactly.
Yeah.
And so I thought that it had really nice drama. I really enjoyed getting more, Tony Stark with his parents' kind of backstory. And I thought it was really well handled, and I loved the introduction of Spider-Man in it.
That's for sure. That's a good introduction.
Well, yeah, walking out.
Yeah.
I think most of us went, that's the best Spider-Man I've seen.
Yeah.
And that was only 7 minutes of screen time or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, okay, I'm ready to see this Tom Holland version you got coming.
Totally.
It's just when I stack it up to the other one, that's where I'm just like, I really so much prefer this one.
Sure.
But
I don't find myself going back to Civil War other than to see the final fight, which is incredible.
great.
Yeah.
Once you see Ant-Man go giant, and you're like, oh my God, a comic book come to life. Like, that was amazing.
Well, that's the airplane fight, and that's fine. But
you're
for
talking
me,
about between
the 2-on-1 fight.
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
So good.
And that's the reason I go back and watch it for that. But I have issues with the Zemo stuff. Because he's kind of like, to me, he's kind of a flaccid villain. Because he's pitting everybody against each other and hoping it works.
Much like Stryker, though, he's one of the few just straight normal dudes.
Yeah.
To get a one-up on somebody that has every advantage over you.
Yeah. I like the Winter Soldier stuff with Tony. I mean, with Cap. But for me, it bothers me because I'm Team Iron Man on this one.
Okay.
I hated that he was like, fuck my friends, my best friend first. And I was like, what? Dude, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm so Team Iron Man on this one,
But I
don't find myself coming back to the movie that much.
But I feel like, from my perspective, that I thought they did a good job of kind of giving you the perspective of, yeah, obviously a lot of it was about him standing with Bucky, but it was also about him being like, well, no, like we are good people and we will be like self-regulating, self-governing. Like we don't need the government to tell us what to do.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I read into that too. Just like, okay, so now we're just a puppet of the government.
Yeah.
And at that point, it turns into like Superman in Dark Knight.
Right.
Just like you now are an errand boy for the president. Go out and do his dirty work everywhere else because you've had to sign accords and agreements and this, that, and the other. Just like I'm split on that. I understand both, but
Yeah.
Tony's forecast of eventually I want to put a shield of armor around the world pays would have paid dividends.
Tony did say that in Endgame. He's like,
But then what's the difference of that and where we're going to get to in Winter Soldier?
yeah.
It's just you like who's at the controls right now.
Right.
But what if they turn on you? It's like why Lex Luthor always comes up with some sort of answer for Superman. You need that.
Yeah. Lex Mr. Luthor.
Yeah.
All right. That was your 6,
That was
your
it.
5?
That was my 6, yeah.
So my 5 is Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay, great.
Punting for
Punt, I have it
5
higher.
to 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
5 to 3. If it's in the 5 to 3?
Yeah.
It's not in the 5 to 3 for me.
Ooh.
That's pretty
Fair
high
enough.
up there for me.
All right, fair. All right. What's your number 4?
4 for me is Infinity War.
Which is a punt from number 7 for me, and you don't have it on your
Because I didn't put any Avengers movies
I
on
love
here.
it.
And Dark Knight is in your bottom 5.
Right.
You know?
Well, Matt, we'll just have our conversation about Infinity War.
I'm allowed to have opinions.
Yeah, but
I would put Infinity War in my list for sure because
Yeah.
I loved Infinity War.
Yeah.
you
That's
went
so
1,
good.
2, 3 on strikes so quick that we would love to give you another shot, but that was, I mean, honestly.
You're not going to like my number
Well,
one.
it's like
I can
a-
already tell
shit.
you.
It's like a cartoon
Oh,
where the
shit.
person spins around on themselves and they corkscrew their own body because they missed the same curveball 3 times. Some Bugs Bunny does. Infinity War. I mean, it's in essence this late in the game, and they do an origin story.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The balls.
Oh, not even that. Not only that, they turn the antagonist into the protagonist
You do.
of the film.
It's another one where you understand
Oh,
why the
totally.
individual is motivated.
100%. Yeah, it was so funny because, my roommate kept being like, I don't really care about Thanos as a villain. And I'm like, which made her not go see Infinity War. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what you should like because that boils into the conversation we're going to have about my psyche when we get to talking about Dark Knight. However, I think that for me, Infinity War is the one that would absolutely be on my list if I had thought of Avengers movies as being sequels because Thanos is such a great villain.
Yeah.
Such a great villain.
Well, the villain never wins.
Yeah.
Thanos wins. He manages to get everything he sets out to do, and he was the unstoppable force.
I just remember being in the premiere and the fucking silence when that film ended. Silence.
Dude.
People were shocked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just watching.
So good.
Knowing though, the whole time, it's just like they're killing off way too many people for this to be real.
Oh, well, of course, of course.
Of course.
The only 2 technically, but they've already been changed, and you're like, well, this one or this one. I don't know what's going on here,
They
but
found a way to bring everybody back.
Yeah, they will.
I told
Not a
Dennis
problem.
they were going to do it. He was like, no, there'll be no stakes. I'm like, I'm just telling you how comic books work. They're bringing everybody back.
Everybody back. If they if they can make a buck, they're coming back.
Exactly.
There's no point in killing them off.
The thing is, I also enjoy about this is that you really do have philosophies battling against each other in this situation, and you kind of like on the heels of Killmonger, who a lot of people felt like had some legitimate gripes in the situation. You bring us Thanos, who a lot of people saw like, well, if it's indiscriminate and we're not judging by class or wealth or anything, you're just wiping out half the galaxy no matter what. Maybe it's not such a bad thing. And even Captain America in Endgame says it's nice to be able to see the whales again because we got less pollution in the water. You're like, oh, fuck. Maybe it's an ugly thing, but maybe he's not wrong. And you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and it's so funny to me, the people that try to argue, like, well, why didn't you just make more resources? And I'm like, because
Yeah, that only inflates the problem.
Yeah,
Basically,
exactly.
Because that fosters more
Yes,
population. 'Cause people are
totally.
You know
like,
what
oh,
this fire
there's
needs?
more.
It's
Yeah.
gas. You're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not a good idea, guys. I mean, at the same time, I don't want to kill off any life, but there's got to be a better solution. How about we all just go to renewables and figure out a way to coexist
Yes.
naturally as opposed to...
We
Totally.
got so many resources, honey. We should have 3 more kids. Wait, no, that's not. No.
Yeah.
And the acting as well throughout the whole movie, how this all happens. I mean, Tom Holland's death is like so fucking powerful.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Everything about it, you just all it leads to, and then Doctor Strange is so cool when they're all working together. The frustrating moment with Star-Lord and Quill, and with him not like him letting his emotions get at him.
The only time.
Oh.
Dude, had you not done that, all of this would have been saved.
Yeah, yeah.
All of this. You are technically the one we can point to and say it's your fault.
Yeah, kind of.
It
Yeah,
is.
The only one.
Yeah, and then you have that like just line of Doctor Strange saying 14 million, blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
then he goes, "There's only one."
There's only one.
Yeah, it's so brilliant.
Yeah, it's really
all
good.
around, top to bottom.
Yeah, I love Infinity War. It would totally be on my list, but I mess my
Plus
list
all the
up.
payoffs they get in Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Paying
but
off the-
I think for me, I would. I look at them as kind of a unit, but
Oh,
if I
okay.
had to choose one over the other, I think Infinity War for me wins out just a little bit because of the exploration of Thanos.
Oh, fair.
He becomes a little mustache twirly for me in Endgame,
Endgame. Okay.
just because he's not in it as much.
That's fair.
He doesn't get to participate as much.
Yeah, but when we all know his rep, he can twirl his mustache, you know. He managed
I
to
guess.
beat everybody we thought were
Yeah.
unbeatable.
Dude.
Yeah.
It brought
I don't know. I like a sort of despair cliffhanger ending. I guess.
So wait.
my three-
Okay, then what's number 3?
Is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
that's my
I
num-
have got Thor Ragnarok, not in the exact same spot, but in my number 4.
That's my number 5.
Hey,
So it's all. At least that one made
we're
our
all
list.
in agreement.
All coming together.
Yes. Yeah, this is when they finally figured out Thor
Yeah.
in an individual film.
Yes.
I've already rewatched this so many
It's
times.
so good.
So many times. There's so many good moments. Like early on when he's dangling in the chain in the theater, I was like,
yes.
I don't know about this.
Yes.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But by the time they get to the portal and the dragon's head that gets severed off and comes sliding across, and as soon as it nudges against those steps,
Yep.
his eyes roll into the back of his head, and then his tongue comes out, and you're like, I fucking love everything about this movie.
Yeah. yeah.
And they just keep going. It's got
Yeah.
the serious and the stupid.
Yeah.
It's to see Planet Hulk come to life.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
In this version?
Yeah, they don't pull any punches in this movie.
No.
Like that. It's just it's so great.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Goldblum is so good.
So good.
Oh my god.
When he goes up to be a DJ.
Oh, I know.
Yes, that's just so great.
And in the introduction of Tessa Thompson as
Yeah.
Valkyrie too,
Oh.
she's just so outstanding in this movie,
Yeah.
and she just like falls drunkenly
Right, she's
off
drunk.
that spaceship.
Puts her
ramp.
hand through a dead animal.
Yes.
All that kind of jazz.
Yeah, it's
But she's
just
so
great.
badass. And he's great too because once again, they figured out how funny Hemsworth is.
He's
Yeah.
very
And-
funny,
Right? And so they
Yeah.
put him in these situations where he's in essence kind of a fish out of water, relying on his old school male machismo.
Yeah.
And none of it is working.
No.
Yeah.
None of it is brilliant. It's brilliant. Even when even in that moment when Tessa comes to go drag Hulk to go
Mm-hmm.
do whatever, to train or whatever, and he tries to be a badass and he throws that thing
Oh,
at the
hits him in
wall.
the
and
head.
hits
Oh, yeah,
him in
it
the
hits him in the
head.
head.
And then he gets back up. It's the little thing he does when he gets back up and he goes, "Whew," like that. It's
Yeah.
like every dude's had
no.
that moment. Every
Comedic-
dude's had that moment.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
every person has had that.
Yeah,
moment.
true.
Totally.
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have
And
one of those.
also, I always love a good Thor Loki team up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's so good in this movie, especially when
Loki,
they're like
look who it is.
Yes.
He's doing the Dangerfield like
when they're in the elevator and they're trying to go steal a spaceship and they're like,
Yeah.
"Let's do Get Help." He's like, "No, I don't want to do that."
Exactly. We're
gonna
not
do
doing
Get
that. We're doing.
It's so good.
But also like what you get with Korg.
Ruffalo?
With
Oh.
Korg.
Oh,
Korg is so
yeah.
brilliant.
I know.
Oh my god. Such an essential. I wished
new
I
guy.
wanted him more in Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
And I was mad we only got one scene with him, but like
Still.
because he's so good.
Yeah.
He got a good scene though.
He did get a good scene.
Free
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
And Ruffalo was great too.
Oh, yeah.
like it was fun to see him get to just have fun
Right.
as
Yeah.
the Hulk. Which isn't to say that like he hasn't had fun in the past, but in Hulk's most recent appearances before that, he was definitely doing the sort of tortured soul thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, it was like he'd gotten past that and was now in like some dangerous coping mechanism.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, they kind of divorced those, love storylines that they were building up with him, which I think is kind of smart.
I think so too.
It didn't really connect.
It wasn't really playing.
at all.
They joked about it throughout the movie. Hey, son's going down, big guy.
Yeah.
They did all that. Kate Blanchett, too.
Oh, my God. She's exquisite.
Never-
And Carl Urban.
Carl Urban is hilarious.
When she throws up all the daggers and hits the, it's not a cathedral ceiling, but that great
ceiling.
And
just you see the history that this place is actually predicated upon. You're like, that is such a brilliant little twist. Yeah, because most empires are built on blood.
Yep.
And if you control the 7 kingdoms or whatever the fuck it is.
This was my defense for Dani. I said she was trying to do this.
Yeah.
And everyone got all upset. And I'm like, no, so many people throughout history have done terrible shit so they can build a better empire.
We did a whole podcast
We
about
did. I'm sorry.
But once you turn on what you assume are just innocents.
Yeah.
Before that,
What do you think Odin did?
She took, but at the same time, we've seen her take out slave traders, and we're fine with that. We saw her take all the people that she's gone up against we viewed as terrible people.
Of course.
And then King's Landing's like, no, there's some terrible people there, and there's just probably more than likely just people.
Well,
And she killed thousands of just people.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I
Born and raised in a gutter.
Listen, I liked Roka's argument, but unfortunately,
it didn't bear
play out.
No, it didn't play out that way,
not
which
play
I was
out.
really mad about. That asshole killed her. Anyway,
Thor Ragnarok, great movie.
Yeah, great movie. What else was I trying to hit on this thing? Oh, the Rainbow Bridge stuff at the end. All of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the use of that Led Zeppelin song. Fucking hell, that's a great song to use for the.
Oh, what is it? It's Immigrant Song.
Immigrant song.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah.
I love
So
that the next
perfect.
day that was one of the biggest trends on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Led Zeppelin isn't known?
We're old, buddy. We're
Yeah,
old.
but at the same time, certain things are just like, listen, if you're going to listen to anything from the genre, this is a band you listen to.
Well, look-
They do have enough albums that we wouldn't
Look
listen
how
to
many
all.
people discovered Paul McCartney through Kanye West. You know how that was trending on
What?
social media? People were like saying,
From what?
No.
People were saying after they did the song, a lot of people on Twitter were saying, "Oh my God, Kanye's so awesome, giving this old man a shot at being a star."
No.
Yes, this was a huge story.
This is coming. This was a while ago.
Yeah, this was like 2 years ago.
This is coming
Okay.
back to me
They
now.
did a song together, and
Yeah.
people
I
were
didn't
like,
hear it,
"Oh
so
my
what is-
God." It's a terrible
It's
song. It's
not
not
a
a good song.
No, this is coming back to me now, and I clearly repressed it from my memory because that's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
So many tweets. People were like, "Oh my God, look
Yeah.
at him
They
just
do
plucking
a
this
Sinatra,
person."
Stevie, black and white type of.
No, it wasn't.
They didn't update it to Michael Jackson. They just did one for a new generation.
Probably. So that was your number what?
That was my 3.
Okay, so then my number 5 was Thor Ragnarok. My number 4 is Avengers Endgame.
That's a punt.
Okay, fair. Then my number 3 is Captain America Winter Soldier. So that's still a punt.
still
That's
have it
still a
higher?
punt
Yeah.
for
Okay,
me. Yeah,
go
I have
ahead,
it higher.
Emma.
What did I have? I had in my 5 I have Logan, which I'm sure is a punt for John.
That was a goddamn punt.
I have Thor Ragnarok in number 4, which we already talked about, and then I have Spider-Man 2 in number 3.
Wow, that high.
Yeah,
Emma,
I think
please, you
this,
have the
again,
floor.
Again, this is a circumstances under which you saw it kind of thing. I
Sure.
was a freshman in college
Okay.
when this movie came out, and I think that something that Spider-Man 2 does extremely well, in addition to Alfred Molina being just brilliant
Oh, so good.
as Doc Ock. He's
So good.
so good in that role, and such a great villain. Again, another villain that you really truly understand where he's coming from, and you watch this kind of brilliant mind not fall apart exactly, but be used for bad things.
Yeah.
Sure.
You sympathize with him.
You sympathize with him
He's
100%.
unwitting villain, which is weird to see.
And also, gosh, I love that Peter's got a job as a pizza deliverer. For me, that was the thing. It was seeing this character who previously we're introduced to him. He's a teenager. He's in high school. I mean, obviously you have issues when you're in high school, but it was cool to see him dealing with young adult problems.
Yeah.
And trying to balance being a person and being Spider-Man. And I think that this movie really nailed that struggle for Peter Parker.
Yeah, agreed. I really enjoyed the Peter Parker, the MJ situation here with Kirsten Dunst. When he's holding up that thing and they're having that interaction near the end, I thought it was one of the most tender interactions I've ever seen.
And all
between
the
a
all the
superhero and his-
struggles that they have throughout the
Yeah,
film, when
yep.
they come back together at the end, it just it makes it that much more satisfying. Of I know what you are, and we know what we're in for here, and
Right.
we're committed to it.
Right. And having Doc Ock go and take control of the arms and turn it all around. And sacrifice himself. That was so awesome because he'd been such a mentor to Peter, and they really made that relationship work from the beginning, right? Because you're just introduced to him for the first time.
Yeah.
And so you have to go along with what they're creating, and they create such a great connection between them. And the fight with Aunt May on the building is great.
Yes.
All of it is a lot of fun here, and I think this is his last gasp as an enjoyable Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Well, yeah, because the next one is a train wreck.
Right, but there isn't even
not-
good scenes
not
in
good.
3 that you can defend. And to me, that's
I
the
don't ever
issue.
go back to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I've seen
really,
it a couple times.
I was going to say I've maybe seen 3 twice. But yeah, so I think that for me, it really emotionally resonates, and you know, I like Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
I really do. I like Sam Raimi as a filmmaker.
There are worse filmmakers than I, that's for sure. So
I just
he's
connect
good.
less and less with Toby as time goes on.
Oh, okay.
Sure, and I will totally agree that he is not the greatest of Spider-Men.
Yeah, the choice is just I never. Who doesn't love Spider-Man?
Yeah.
we all grew up reading. it.
Yeah.
It's just insanely fun character.
Totally.
And even in the first one, it was high school, and it was like, oh, okay, so we got 21-year-old high school kids these days.
Yeah.
Because they all three look too
I
old
think he
to
was
be in high
older
school.
than that.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah,
That's true.
Him, Kristen, and then
And Franco.
Just
Yeah.
Like, all right.
But the train moment is incredible.
It is.
Oh,
like
yeah.
all
It's
of
got
it,
its
and
moments.
then being passed back like he's Christ. And
Yeah.
it's incredible. And the kid saying, "We'll keep your secret," or blah blah blah.
Yes.
He's like,
Oh, I love that scene.
yeah, it's such a great scene. It's like shows you that connection Spider-Man has with New York.
Yeah, and I think
so
that
good.
that I think is the thing that this movie does incredibly well, and that kind of feeds into that is the whole idea that it's very focused on interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And that's I think the thing that's really appealing about Spider-Man in general. So
It's
I
the-
think this is a great Spider-Man story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it necessarily the best Spider-Man? Is it the best performance by a Spider-Man? No.
Right.
But it's a good Spider-Man story.
Yeah, it's the only one I go back and watch of the Raimis.
Yeah.
I do not go back and watch 1 at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
1 and 3, no chance. 2
Yeah.
would be the only one that I watch.
Yeah, fair. All right, so we're up to your number 2 most.
2 is Endgame.
Okay.
For
Which
the
is not on
sheer-
Emma's list.
Yeah, for the sheer accomplishment of you managed to wrap up 21 movies.
Yes. Yeah.
21 movies. That's so impressive. To everybody on all kinds of the only fault that the movie has is that you had to have seen so many other films
Yes.
to get the payoffs
Yeah.
for all these characters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the vast majority of cinema goers have seen the bulk of these movies.
Well, the fact
You
that
get
it made over $2.5 billion means a lot of people went back and saw those movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would kick off of my list to put some Avengers movies on here because I like the stuff on my list. But
that's fine.
It would be on my list.
Yeah.
It would be. No, Endgame was great. Yeah, as I say, I think for me, Infinity War, I prefer just a little tiny bit because I really, really enjoy what they do with Thanos in that film. However, I do also really love all of Nebula's stuff so much in Endgame that it's hard for me to pick.
That's why I like it. The Nebula story is great. I love the
Yeah.
Fat Thor stuff. I love it.
I do
so
too.
good.
As a guy who's always struggled with his weight, I felt such a connection with him.
Okay, I want to say
And-
something
yeah,
about this
okay.
because there were all these people that were crying, like it's fat shaming and blah, blah, blah. But there were just as many people who were not as loud that went, no, I looked at this and I went, oh, it's a superhero I can cosplay.
Yeah.
I lived that. That was my 20s.
right.
Fat and alcoholic.
Yeah.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
To see that and be like, yeah, that's he thought he was this indestructible god and he had
Right.
a certain path in life, and that's why it worked so well with Thor Ragnarok. He got spun out just to find an identity that he assumed was going to happen, never put any thought into anything else, and now that is all destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's like, when he can't get over the fact that he could have killed Thanos, and Thanos tells him he should aim for the head, he knows he could have stopped all of
Yes.
this, and he has to carry that burden of,
Right?
I let half of all living organisms die.
And his scene with Rene Russo when he goes back to
my God.
Asgard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, so
and
good.
her just seeing him and saying, "Oh, you're not the Thor I know,"
Right.
but still being there to listen and offer advice and just accepting that this was a thing that he was doing and something was going on and it was important. Oh, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, and tell him to eat a salad. That's a mom.
Yeah.
A mom would do that.
Yeah.
And more often than not, if I was watching it, I would think that is contrived to put him in the day that she is going
To die.
Right.
And then I'm watching it. I was like, this is just brilliant. Because when he's like, you have to know something. And she's like, look, what happens to me, it's fine. You need to worry about you. You need to go back and take care of, your.
Yeah.
She's a mom through and through. Just like, wow, this movie's so successful.
Plus the Black Widow, Hawkeye stuff is
Yeah.
great.
It's
Like
great.
when they're fighting on the Soul Stone area, and then you get even more with how Captain America is trying to do this thing. Professor Hulk is brilliant as well. The whole thing with Ruffalo having a great time.
And
Professor Hulk.
and Scott Lang,
Scott Lang,
coming up
absolutely.
with the idea for time travel, effectively.
Which I
did
thought
love
was
too
brilliant.
when they're like, "So your plan is basically Back to the Future."
Yeah, right. And it's like Back to the Future.
Is that how
sucks.
time works? What?
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been lied to every movie. And then Don Cheadle does it too.
Yeah.
He's like, in this movie,
Yes.
so none of these?
Yeah, it's great.
But there's also and I think because I had Danny Fernandez on the Deep Cut, she talked about how the film confronts this idea of loss really powerfully, and depression and PTSD and all this, like
because
what they can do to you.
I think another thing too, to bear in mind with Endgame that I think they executed extremely well is the whole idea with Iron Man of being like, I want to obviously I want to bring everybody back, but I don't want to lose what I have.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want to lose my family.
I think he had a feeling that was what the decision he had to make. And
Hold on, what do you mean?
I mean, like when they come and they say to him, like, "Hey, you got to come with us," or "We need," and he's like, "Well, I don't want to lose. I got the these are the reasons."
Of course.
But I think the fact that he goes there first means that he knows if he gets into this situation, he's going in all the way to the end.
But he has to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so that's why his first response is like, "I don't lose what I have," because he knows it's going to be a fight to the death. And the fact that he's the one that has to be the one that snaps is so incredible. Plus those scenes where everyone's coming through, when they all show up to fight that massive war, you're just like, this is incredible.
Oh, when the portals open.
Yeah.
And all
my God.
all the people come pouring in.
I lost my shit.
The first time you see Captain America get the hammer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
So good.
Dude, he tightens the strap on the broken shield.
Yeah.
And the cinematography within that, everything on Thanos' side is casting this really dark shadow, and the only light peeking in is on him, like this fucking Simba on Pride Rock, and it's just beautifully hitting him. And it just, if you're going to do it in any movie at any time, perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfectly timed. They did that over and over and over again. The I am inevitable to then switch, knew it was going to be Iron Man. I am Iron Man. And when the payoff came, it was so deserved.
Yeah.
They did such a beautiful job of setting up the script and setting up certain things. The Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Even all the Captain America stuff. Like, what is I could do this all day? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
That's such a great moment.
That is America's ass.
But also that end when they're having everything go down in the battle at the end, and they're all lined up. You're so inspired by that moment, and it's great to see that for the first time ever, if you're a comic book person,
Right.
those double panels that you remember
Oh, yeah.
come to life,
On
and
the
you're just like,
screen.
oh my God.
Yeah, for
this
sure.
is so brilliant all the way from top to bottom. And the death is not overdone.
No.
Gwyneth Paltrow
Yeah.
doesn't try to win an Oscar with her reaction. It's legitimate. It's real.
Yeah.
She knew he might die.
Yep.
And so when he does, she just puts him to bed basically in her own way.
Yeah.
It's so incredible, man.
Yeah.
What about, so from
was really great.
a woman's perspective,
Yes.
did you like or dislike when all the female characters band together?
I loved it.
Really?
I loved it.
Yes.
It was totally pandering, but
It
I
was
don't
so
care.
pandering.
I loved it.
The possibility is what it teases it. You want that.
Exactly.
True. It just, when I was watching in the theater, I was like, what are the chances they all end up on this one spot? So we're just doing this for those.
100%.
I realize it's a movie and all that, but it's like, God, this seems so pandering.
There was a little bit in Infinity War where it was like all the women in Proxima Midnight having the fight. So, the idea already existed.
Scarlet Witch,
was it totally pandering and completely unlikely that they would have all ended up in the same spot? Yes. Was it amazing to see all of these women like assembled on screen and to go, wow, there's like more than one girl?
Yeah. Tons.
And as a dude seeing that moment, to me, it didn't matter that they were male or female. It was a badass moment that they all came together.
Yeah.
It was so
we're here, and especially the whole idea is like, because I was listening to a thing one time where it was talking about how it was on Wait, Don't Tell Me, I think, and they were talking about how they discover there was like a study done that women tend to not do as well at Scrabble as men do because it's individually competitive and women are more interested in collaboration and teamwork. So to see all the women come together and go like, no, she doesn't have to do it alone. We have her back. Like it was great. I loved it.
The Spanish Shire Wolves are champs. God damn it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you hear about the guy that won the French whatever Scrabble tournament? He doesn't speak a lick of it. He just memorized the dictionary.
Oh my God.
And you see a picture of the dude and be like, you look like the type of guy that would just sit and memorize the French dictionary to win a Scrabble. He's one of the world's best players.
Yes.
He's an English speaker or whatever. I just read the article and I was like, that's fucking...
There we go. All right, so
That's my 2. Which is
your two.
My 2 is The Dark Knight.
Okay.
That's a punt.
Yes.
Oh, still a punt.
Oh, because he's got it at the top.
All
Well, I knew
what's
what your number
two?
1 was going to be.
Damn right you did. What's your number 2?
Notice how your 2 is much closer to my 1 as opposed to your 1 to my...
My 2
Nine.
I can
is
sleep with myself.
my 2 is Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Winter
My three,
Soldier
so-
is a great. It's a really great standalone film.
Yeah.
Which is something that, so much of the MCU, I feel like they're playing to build up these big event things. And even as a sequel to First Avenger, it does really great on its own. And it's also the first time that we see Cap out on his own in the modern era, because the first time we see him again in the modern day is in the first Avengers film.
Yeah.
And so here we see him trying to adapt to living life in the present, so to speak. I love the introduction of Anthony Mackie as Falcon. Their friendship is just so inspiring and great, and all, of course, obviously pays off in Endgame. And also, this is a great movie for Black Widow.
Yes.
It's a great movie for Natasha. Because before that, it's like, I mean, she's great in Avengers, but like, when did she come in? Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
And you were like,
It's a terrible introduction in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
It's sex pot. And you're like, that's not Black Widow, son.
Totally. It's not. And in this, like, you get to see her be the, like, badass, like, spy assassin that she is.
And their camaraderie.
Their
which is
friendship
great.
is fantastic. And I thought they did such a good job of really establishing, and again, pays off really well in Endgame of the two of them working so well together. And then it's really interesting in Civil War, where she's kind of more on Iron Man's side originally, and she makes the switch. Oh my God. This is like top tier Black Widow stuff for me.
It's a brilliant 70s political thriller.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Spy film.
Yeah, it's a spy film
movie.
that happens to be about superheroes.
Yeah.
This is always the best of the genre, when they just happen to be superheroes, but the real human shit is going on. This film's all about the betrayal of the government.
Yup.
Figuring out like who's on whose side.
Yes.
Right? And then then the conversation that Nick Fury and Captain America have about monitoring people, about how we're building we're spying, and we're doing we're violating our ethics, our morals, our principles
left and right
as a country just to stay alive as a country. Then what do we really stand for? Such a great philosophical discussion to throw into a superhero film, for fuck's sake. When people bash the genre and go, oh, we don't need to know, I go insane, because I go, you haven't really fucking watched it, have you?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shit in here that's real, that appeals, that are actual concepts that are going on in the world and people are fighting about now. And you're going to talk to me and think it's because of tights? You're an idiot. And the other thing is the fight scene in the elevator. That's just incredible stuff.
That's the opening where he jumps out of a plane and lands in the water.
That's exactly how it
And
opens.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, I remember that panel from the comic book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a nice little homage to something that I grew up, because I never really read Cap all that much because I didn't find him compelling.
Right.
So when the first one came out, I was like, yeah, I understand why you got to do it. He's one of, he's going to lead the Avengers. I totally get it. And to see him the first movie I'm not the biggest fan of. I have my reasons.
The first Avenger, right?
No, the first Captain America first.
That's what it's called, First Avenger.
First Avenger.
Sorry.
I like it
I do too.
a lot.
He turns into God.
Yeah, because he is God.
But instantly?
Yeah.
He gets the serum and suddenly he can run 35 miles an hour. He can jump and
Doesn't matter. He
swim
still
after a
can't save
sub.
his best friend.
Yeah.
Dude, he figures out how to fly that missile plane thing.
Yeah.
Never flown in his life, but somehow can get behind the stick of a moving object that is flying away and then pilot it into the back of the plane.
That's why he's Captain
The
America.
statistical chance of that, though, is so low.
That's America.
Whereas in this one, it grounds it in reality. You know who can take out a superhero?
Yes.
Is a massive bureaucracy
Yeah.
because there's too many heads to cut off at once.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, that's just it's like the old Greek mythology where you cut the dragon's
head of the
off.
Hydra
Yeah,
off,
the Hydra,
yeah.
and then 2 more go
Yes.
up in its place, and you're like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? There's no way to snuff this out.
Yep.
It's just a great foil for him, and the spy thriller, aspect of it. Anybody get sucked in, making Robert Redford a bad guy.
Oh, Robert
Great
Redford's
cast.
so good
Great
in this
cast.
movie.
So good, and that moment in Endgame is so fucking great as well.
Oh, yes,
when he shows
comes
back up.
back.
I lost my shit scene. I was like, oh my god, it's all right.
Yep.
We're doing that.
Yeah. So Winter Soldier,
Respect.
A++ movie for me.
All
Loved
right.
it.
All
That-
right.
Love it.
Two, my
That was
one is
2.
Dark Knight.
Okay.
So your 2 and your what insulting
7.
number?
7. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
because
go
we've
ahead.
spoken about it.
So all
numerous
right, so
times on the show.
here is the thing. I really do love Dark Knight, and when I saw it in the movie theater
Sounds like it.
initially, I really genuinely loved it. It was so many years of people yelling about how much I should like this movie that made me go, yeah, it's fine. It's a good movie.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Like when somebody tells me that I should like something, I immediately like clam up and go, "Ugh, I don't know if I'm gonna.
But you'd already
actually
made
like
your
this."
mind up.
I know, but it's been so many years. It's this and all the X-Men movies. So many years of people yelling at me about how friggin' fantastic they are.
Well, the X-Men ones, they're crazy.
No, I know, and I respect that this is a great film. I have it in my top 10 list for sure, but it's just not one that I go back and watch all that often, and I think it really is because of people yelling at me about how great it is.
And this is actually a really interesting approach to the movie because our lists, we've said this from the first episode, are subjective lists.
Yeah.
They're our lists.
Yeah,
And
totally.
they're ranked
As I
by...
said, you guys are gonna hate my number
Oh,
one, so
God, this is going to be fun.
We don't
it's
have
not on
any
either of
puns.
your lists.
Oh, shit. It's Quest for Peace, for fuck's sake.
That's right. No, it's not Quest for
I'm
Peace.
kind of like, what did I leave off?
Oh, this is going to be fun.
This is gonna be great.
I have no idea, and I'm looking forward to it. But
I got to guess.
But our personal feelings are attached to the films and how we rank
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
So if this is why it affects you not putting in a top 5 or 2 or 3,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done that with other films, but I hadn't seen them yet.
Sure.
So like Animal House, I don't think is all that funny because before I saw it for like 10 years,
Right.
the
And
greatest comedy
again,
of all time.
and I'm normally the same way of like, for example, I don't love Office Space because before I saw it, so many people
Yeah.
were telling me how great it was. And with this movie, I think it's just like, especially because I feel like people have such a boner for the Chris Nolan Batman films. They're like, they're so great. Like, this is what Batman's supposed to be. And to me, Batman is Tim Burton. Is the Tim Burton Batman
Wow.
films.
Okay.
Because that's what I watched.
Right.
As a kid.
Right.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that one, but Batman existed for me. It predates that, so it can be
Right.
different iterations. We can keep going back to the character.
No, 100%. But for me, it's like I love the Tim Burton Batman films, and I love Batman the Animated Series, which borrows very heavily from the Tim Burton films.
Sure.
So and I also loved the Adam West show as a kid. I used to watch the Adam West Batman show in syndication at my grandparents' house all the time.
Yeah.
So to me, Batman's a little sillier than the Chris Nolan movies are.
That's fair. That's so totally fair. Batman exists in multiple forms.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a great point. So Dark Knight.
Great movie, though. It's a great movie. It really is.
I always want to re-examine whether I still love it every year.
Okay.
I always do, and
Guess what?
I do love it. I can't ever
still
pull it
pretty
away.
fantastic?
Yeah, every time I want, because I like Dark Knight Rises too. It's okay. I enjoy it.
fine.
The first one I enjoy too. But this one, there's just something about the magic of their interaction,
Yeah.
Heath Ledger and Christian Bale, that just works so well.
Yeah, I mean, Heath Ledger's outstanding as
Yeah.
a Joker. He's really outstanding.
It really is. And the interrogation scene is one of the best, one of the top 10 scenes in film ever.
Yeah, and
And
I
it's incredible.
obviously love Jack Nicholson as a
Yeah.
Joker so much in
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
'89,
Yeah.
but Heath Ledger's also fantastic in
Yeah.
a completely different way.
Heath's a better representation of who the Joker is.
Then
me.
Jack.
Yeah.
Jack. Jack is
yeah.
like, you took the part and it's like a villain and whatever, you get to ham it up and whatnot. And I
Yeah,
enjoy
the
living
Jack
shit out
Napier
of it.
stuff, yeah.
But Heath takes more of the persona of who Joker is, just wants to sow chaos.
Yeah.
That's all he wants is anarchy because whatever, everybody's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So fuck it. And yeah, just from moment one in that movie, it sucks that your opinion is now shifted because I think this is just, I can go back and rewatch.
Well, don't yell at her about it because you're going to move
No,
further down.
I know. I need to revisit it. And again, like I 100% acknowledge that this is a fantastic movie. It is a better film than what I put as my number one. But that doesn't change the fact that my number one is my number one.
This is going to be fun.
Yes.
Do you have a guess?
No, I don't want to guess. I want to be surprised. I like it.
Yeah, true. We'll get through your number one,
Yeah.
and then we'll take guesses. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Okay.
Take guesses.
One last thing about The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
The thing that people don't talk enough about is, yes, Heath is great as the Joker.
Yeah.
But I also think there's an element to the way he plays the Joker that the reason why it works so much is you sense that someone you know could do this, could be this, could become this.
Yes.
Sure.
He has this kind of
That's
like
very
your
true.
brother or your cousin or some kind of aspect. Whereas the Joker in the comics is really unknowable, untouchable. He's crazy. He does whatever, but he always seems to be in control of whatever situation he's in.
Yeah.
This guy is trying to fuck shit up on purpose
Yeah.
because he doesn't like the way the world's built.
Yeah.
Whereas Joker does it in the comics for fun, he's doing it as a political movement. And that is phenomenal about his portrayal of Joker. And you feel almost a sympathy for him because he could be your brother or your cousin or your ex-boyfriend or anything. And it's just mind-blowing, that aspect of it. And not enough people talk about it, but that's why I enjoy it as much as I do because it feels relatable in the way that he portrays it.
I mean, what kind of family you got that you got?
I'm just telling you.
That could be a Joker, and that could be a Joker.
Sure, I think everyone. What does Joker always say? Everyone's one bad day away from.
From
That's
turning into a criminal mastermind that manages to take out huge organizations with no money.
Certainly a
or-
criminal, if not a mastermind.
Certainly a criminal.
Yeah, if not a
Certainly
mastermind.
a criminal.
Just saying, that's rarefied air. And you're like, I know like 5 dudes. They can.
Well, you know at least 5. That's
No, I'm
cool.
saying, I'm talking as you now, Mister. That dude, my cousin could be a Joker. I got a brother that maybe is a Joker.
My brother could be the Joker. That's for damn sure. All right,
Yep.
number 1, Logan. That's my number 1, of course.
I had Logan. I had Logan in 5. I think.
Yeah.
I had it pretty high up.
And you had it at 8,
9.
9. You did
yeah,
on
5.
purpose.
Logan at 5.
He does it on purpose
I
so
don't
that he
go
can put
back
Dark
to
Knight
rewatch.
at number
I
1.
know I won't go back to rewatch it as much as the ones I have above it. I just know that for a
insane.
fact.
I've seen it 35 times now.
Wow.
It's an addiction to me on another level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm just saying they had squandered the character so much that I wanted to love this, and I did, but I'm fatigued by the shit that you've given me.
Well, that's fair.
I think that's extremely fair, and
Yeah.
I think that's why I didn't initially rush to go see it. But I do really enjoy this film, especially because it felt like. Again, it's going back to that whole idea of that, like, so much of the X-Men films where they have these big missteps is just like living in this world of teen angst.
Yeah.
And this is very real.
Yeah.
Like, past your prime.
Yeah.
I'm aging. I don't know if I can do this anymore, but I have to because everything's falling apart. Like, yeah, it's.
Well, everything is when you watch it, right?
Yeah.
Time in your life when you
Absolutely.
watch it. Even if you go back and watch something, you can reappreciate it at a different time in your life.
Yes.
This just speaks to me now because I'm turning that corner as a man where, like, I'm at that age where things don't work as quickly as they used to. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I can't lose weight as quickly as you do. There's a lot. And so it's like, I'm still who I was when I was in my 20s or 30s when I was in the prime, but I can also see the turn happening and I sense what he's going through. And there's such a connection for me in watching his journey and how he doesn't want to help in certain moments because what it's going to cost him emotionally, because how many people he's lost already in this process, because he was a sensitive guy since the birth of Wolverine.
Yeah.
And so he's had to take so many losses. He does not want the responsibility of another human being past Charles anymore.
Yeah.
And when X-23 comes in, he has no choice and what it costs him at the end. And I know it could have totally been so on the nose, but having a younger version of him kill him is so poetic and noble. And you're just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because in the end, that is what at times can destroy you, is like the younger mistakes, the way you were in the past, how it can come back to haunt you in a way and can kill you possibly if you don't confront it. And so him running away from it for his entire life, it finally comes to meet
catch
him.
up to him.
Yeah, and what he says to her at the end too, when he says, "Don't let them tell you what you can be. I let them do that.
Yeah.
Don't let them do that." And it's like, fuck, I cry like a baby every time.
I also enjoy in that film the sort of role reversal of like Professor Xavier no longer being
Right,
like
yeah.
the wise
The caretaker. Yeah.
and now Logan has to be the caretaker, especially because like I saw that happen with my mom and her parents.
Yeah.
So to me that was just very real, and the whole like just having to deal with this thing that's like really uncomfortable. And
It's a father-son story in that way too. If you want to go to singular, it's father-son having to take care of the dad now. The dad's old, he's got the diseases, got the stuff going on with his mind.
Yep.
It so works.
The fact that his dementia could kill people.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, my mom's mom had very bad dementia. Oof. So, so that story to me, that really resonated with me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it didn't resonate with you, no. All right, let's move on.
No, I'm not saying that. You guys just had a much stronger response to this. I walked out going, I wish you'd done this 2-3 movies ago because now we'd have a nice run.
100%. That's X-Men in a nutshell.
Yeah, true.
What are we doing?
There are more misses than hits in X-Men.
Oh, no,
way more.
Almost all misses.
Yes.
Almost.
Almost.
I would say
really?
almost.
We're going to stand firm
like
with Dark
X2.
Phoenix and
I like X2.
X2.
There's like 2 to 3 pictures
X2, Days of Future Past, and Logan. I'll fight for those because they're on my list. But I would fight for those.
Yeah, but then you still
Everything else is terrible.
X1, X3.
Yeah.
You've got the 2 standalone Wolverines.
Yeah, which are terrible.
You've got Apocalypse.
Which
You've
is
got
terrible.
Dark Phoenix.
Yep.
Terrible.
There's a lot of shit.
And First Class, which I think is terrible. But that's
I was going to say, there's the
I know a lot of
other
people
one
like
potentially.
that. All right, Emma.
Yep.
What you got a guess?
No, I don't. Like I said, I don't want to guess.
You don't want to guess.
What? You have a guess?
I have a guess. I will circle my guess right there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you got?
Oh.
I don't want to.
Oh, you're not going to say your guess.
No.
I have Batman Returns. Was that your guess?
Oh.
I have that as one of my side
Yeah,
of the list.
sure.
Okay, all right.
What was your guess?
It's Split. I thought you were going to go. So far,
that was
far
close.
left.
You know what? Because
That,
I don't know if you like horror or something.
I
but it has
do.
horror to
I
it.
do like horror.
Yeah.
But no, Batman Returns for me is everything that I love about Batman in one movie.
I almost put it on.
Again, because I grew up. My first exposure to Batman was Batman '89.
Right.
I was 3 years old in 1989.
Oh my God.
So
I mean, I was 10. I wasn't that much older.
So Batman to
This
me
kid was in high school. I
was
believe, at that
19.
point.
I was in college, son.
19?
I was 19.
So that for me was my basis of Batman was the '89 Batman. And again, I had seen the '89 Batman. I watched it all the time when I was little. We had it on Laserdisc. And I also, as I said, watched the Adam West TV series all the time. So there were all these other villains that I already liked, including the Penguin and most importantly, Catwoman. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in this movie is outstanding.
Phenomenal.
I mean, she shaped like so much of it was like the scene where she first comes back into her apartment after she's fallen out of the window and she's been revived by cats, and she's like drinking out of the milk carton and just tearing her apartment apart, and she makes the Catwoman suit. Like, I was terrified, but I wanted to be that.
It's an empowering moment.
Yeah.
As a woman watching that, and I'm sure it must have been like.
And this is the first superhero movie I ever saw in the movie theater.
Right.
It came out in '92.
This is the first one?
Yeah. It's the first superhero movie I ever saw in the theater.
3 and they didn't come out.
I was, I was 6 when this was in theaters. But my parents brought me to go see it, and I vividly remember going to see it. And the scene in the end where she keeps getting shot. And God, she's just
great.
brilliant. And for me also, I forget, even though I know it's Danny DeVito, he's outstanding as the Penguin. He disappears into that role. I don't think of it as being Danny DeVito.
I agree with
It was
that.
an interesting take on Penguin, too.
Yeah.
Because usually he's this debonair kind of guy that trades on secrets and has power.
Totally.
Behind now, he's out in front on this
The
one.
crime boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah. And the whole movie is dialed up to like a 14 at all times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it's again, it is definitely silly. This movie is silly, but it is dark. It's funny and as a kid it was scary, but in a
also-
way I enjoyed.
And also intimate.
Oh yeah.
Because that dance scene between Pfeiffer and Keaton
Pfeiffer and Keaton
is-
have great chemistry in this movie.
Amazing. When they're both in costume, but just half an inch apart from one another, and you're like, wow, it's chemistry you don't often see with superhero films.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was like Catwoman was a character that I really liked from the Adam West series, so I was so excited to see her in a Batman movie. And they just, especially because I always liked the sort of back and forth and sexual tension between her and Batman, and they just like knocked it out of the park. So I mean, I didn't realize as a kid that I was enjoying the sexual tension, but as an adult, I go, yeah, it's totally what I was into.
I liked it as a kid watching it.
And they just knocked it out of the park in this movie.
And the way she reacts when she finds out that it's him.
Yes.
You're just like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
I finally found some dude I can connect with.
Exactly.
Who's like seeing me, and you're fucking
You're Batman. You're Batman. Damn it.
That's the other thing in the Burton series, though. He gets found out as Batman just a little too easily.
Oh, well,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair. This just made such an impact on me as a kid. It was the right time in my life. And this is the movie I go back to all the time because again, it's like, I like Catwoman was such an empowering character, and she was this really great balance between sort of villain and anti-hero.
I totally respect that.
No,
choice.
it's a quality pick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now comes the time. That's our individual list. Now comes the
You
time.
want to write? I can go grab bongos.
Okay, sure. All right. In the meantime, while Matt's going and grabbing the bongos, which I always forget to get because I'm just an idiot sometimes, we are trying to do a live show in Toronto. The tickets are starting, like people are starting to comment on the Facebook group. So if you haven't put your name in there, please do so. The other possibility is Houston. But we are open to all cities. We haven't done a live show in a few months, and I feel weird about it because I was enjoying our little run there for a bit. So I'd like to do another one soon.
Yeah,
Hopefully
so
we can let it
please.
lined up. Yeah.
Or email us at the top 10 live with the number 10 at Gmail. The
There you
top
go.
10 live at Gmail. And we will come out.
That's right.
Toronto, we are very close. Houston, we're getting there.
Yeah, Houston, do a little bit better job, please.
Yeah. But please reach out and let us know.
Yeah.
I think
brother
people
know.
would be very excited to see you in Toronto.
Yeah, I would. We're at 100, over 150 or something like that, 120 people who've commented and said they're going to come.
Something like that. We need to get the London numbers, which is like 150, and then we can reach it because
150. Then we
That's
can
great.
go.
Well, because of the international,
Right.
It's one thing to go, but any dollar we make, we get taxed by the Canadian
Yep.
government,
it's true.
more than likely the city of Toronto itself, and then the U.S. government once we bring it back here. So we need a certain number of people to show up to be like, listen, we got to cover expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For flights, for renting the venue, for hotels,
Yeah.
for all that stuff. So we only need like 20 to 30 max more people.
Get on it,
Yeah.
you
And
Canucks.
We're done. We're coming.
Come on. All right, let's do this thing. So, number one, what do we got here?
Well, Dark Knight is 1, 2,
7.
7. Logan is 1.
5.
1, 5. Well, I think 1, 2, 7 wins.
Yeah,
Of
I think
course
it
you do.
does.
Of course you do.
Better than 1.
Are you going to write or am I going to write?
It does.
I just grabbed these, but it doesn't
I thought
matter.
you said. You
Right.
said you're going to write
You go
the
right.
bonkers. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Can anybody beat the 1, 5, 7
For Logan.
What about Thor? 3, 4, 5.
Thor Ragnarok.
3, 4,
yeah,
5.
3, 4,
I
5.
think 3, 4, 5 beats 1, 5, 7.
Wow.
Yeah,
you?
I have Thor Ragnarok at 4.
Look, I'm
so
asking the crowd. 3, 4, 5 or 1, 5, 7.
3, 4, 5.
Seems higher to me than 1,
1,
5, 7.
5, 7.
Wow.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5. It's more consistent.
See, that's two rational individuals in one room. It's amazing.
You know what?
It's amazing.
Your shifting allegiances are insane.
It's not shifting allegiances.
Please, you're going to bash your next.
I
All
put Logan right under Thor Ragnarok
Yeah.
in my list.
Fine.
So,
Logan here now. Can I get Logan
Yeah,
here now?
Logan's gonna go.
Is that okay?
Logan's gonna go in
Anything
3.
beat
No.
5, 7?
No, I'm going to
I
executive
can't.
say no.
No.
All right.
Sounds like you need a diaper change.
I'll change your diaper in a second here.
Oh, is that the new outlaw tagline?
Yeah.
I'll change your diaper. I just walk off.
I'll give you a spanking. Winter Soldier, I have at 3.
I have at 2.
What do
I
you
have
have?
5. I think that would make
I
it.
That
think
makes
that would
sense,
put
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Don't you start that conversation now.
Yeah.
All right. All right. What do we have what do we have next?
I don't think. Do we have anything else? All of us in common? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Because you. Didn't
I know
have,
Nost and I have a bunch in
Yeah,
common.
you didn't have Guardians 2.
I did not.
Yeah, we both had Guardians too.
Well, I got Endgame at 2. You have that where?
Avengers Endgame, I have it at 4.
Can.
I would support it at
Okay.
at
Well, I'm
that.
just saying, do
I
we
would
have any
support
other
it.
commonality?
No,
higher
but
than
I
that?
would
I'd
have
say
put Endgame on my list. I don't know what would have gone, but I would
Okay.
put it on there.
We'll put it on there. All right. We're at our 6th slot.
What do you guys got left?
All my top 5 are in there.
I've got
Oh, isn't that convenient, Mister? I was
my top
complaining
5.
2
Oh,
seconds ago.
I've got in my top 5 that's not on there. I've got only Batman Returns, obviously.
Well, should we put it
but
on
I also
here?
have Spider-Man 2.
Guest
Which you
choice?
had Spider-Man. Did somebody
did.
else? You had Spider-Man 2.
Did you have Spider-Man 2?
I had it at number 8.
You have it where?
I had it at 3. I like Spider-Man 2 a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
What do you? Do we want to put for 1?
Batman Returns.
Yeah, but
Well,
my
how many more-
one and nobody else.
we're
Yeah, we might as well.
We're at 7 slot.
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it has to go on the list.
Well, because you both said you considered it.
Exactly, and
so
it's your number
Neither
one.
of you were like, that movie's trash.
Exactly, true.
What other common out? So we have a bunch.
Yeah, because we both
Well,
have
we have-
Guardians. We
We
both
have
have.
Infinity
We
War.
have 3 slots left. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
Infinity War at 7.
I got it at 4.
Okay.
Where do you have Guardians?
I have Guardians at 10.
You have it at?
I would imagine Infinity War beats then
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? All right. Yeah. All right. Now we're to our number 9 slot.
That was a gift to me.
It is.
You
It
can
is.
flip-flop
Absolutely.
them.
No. You're a
Guardians in
guest.
common and Hellboy. Do
Yeah.
you two have anything?
We both have X2.
Yes, at number 9.
And
I have X2 at number 8.
I would imagine our Guardians beats that then.
What is your Guardians?
7 what?
10.
Ooh, is it 8-9 versus 7-10? Well then. No, the one higher. We always take that. So it was a
okay.
1-4 versus a 2-3.
Oh, because the 157 didn't get there.
Well, because 3-4-5 is higher collectively.
I don't understand that at all. The 1 drags everybody up. All right. Where
Yeah,
was
but the
it?
problem is you have a 7 down there, and you're not dragging them all the way up to a 3.
It's 2 or 3. It's what it
You're
should-
not.
All right. So what are we
I would
doing?
say Guardians then next.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy. Wait, over X2?
And then X2 to close, yeah.
Which one's the higher of the Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh,
Guardians
'cause-
has the higher. So it's basically
Okay, right.
it's a 5 versus a 7, and then
Yeah.
a 9 versus a 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So the 5 trumps.
So X2 is the last one?
X2.
X2.
All right. X-Men United.
Yeah.
All right. That's our. All right. Let's do this thing. Are you ready, Nose?
What
With
a
the
list.
Bongos? The top 10. Oh shit. Okay. The top 10 best superhero sequels of all time. Yeah. All right.
And number 10,
X2 X-Men United.
coming in at number 9.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
And number 8,
Avengers Infinity War.
in the 7th spot.
Oh, I didn't write
You're
it down.
number 1. You're number
Oh, Batman Returns.
There you go.
And number 6,
Spider-Man 2.
rounding out our top 5 is.
Avengers Endgame.
And number 4,
Captain America Winter Soldier.
in the Trey spot.
What should have been number 1? Logan.
Rightfully number 3. And number 2.
Thor Ragnarok.
And finally, you want to try that one again?
Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Ragnarok.
There's an
Ragnarok.
umlaut over that
I'm trying to do the
Okay.
New Zealand accent. I can't do well.
And
Yep.
finally, our number 1 superhero sequel is.
The Dark Knight. There it is. That's our top 10 superhero sequels of all time. I want to thank the lovely Emma Fyffe for stopping by the show. Thank
you
so
for
much.
having me. Yeah, this was really fun.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I did. I had a
Okay,
great
good.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always hope our guests enjoy our banter because we can get into our own
Dicks?
world sometimes. Yeah, well, yes, I didn't want to say that, but
Yeah.
yes, that's
No,
true.
I had a lovely time. They were very, very gentlemanly.
Oh,
As you cross your arms and go into a physical posturing on.
Where can people find you and stuff you do?
Yeah, I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. That is all F's as in Fred, no S's as in snake. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. Obviously, got a lot of stuff going on over on the Schmodown.
Yep.
Anime Expo is coming up 4th of July weekend, and on July 6th, which is the Saturday of that weekend, from 12 o'clock until into the evening, I will be hosting Destination Funimation Live from Lucky Strike in downtown LA.
Wow,
So
cool.
follow me. I'll tweet out the link so you can check that out.
What happens there? Destination Funimation.
Oh, it's fun. We give away prizes. We talk with like voice actors and the ADR directors and
Nice.
apparently some influencers as well. We'll see.
What's your
In
what's
the animation world?
Within the anime world
Oh, yeah.
specifically.
Oh,
yeah.
anime.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yep.
makes more
That's
sense.
massive.
Yeah.
Any update on a 4K Akira version coming out?
Not that I know of right now.
damn it.
Yeah. But I believe that the creator's going to be at Anime Expo, I think.
Okay.
I feel like maybe I read that.
Okay.
I'm very much in my little bubble of I'm just going to interview whoever Funimation brings
Right,
me.
right.
But
That makes
yeah,
sense.
so hopefully there will be an update on
Yeah,
that
I
because
need a
that's something
4K.
that deserves a 4K
It does
for sure.
And all the Ghosts in the Shells. I want all those in
Yes,
4K for
yeah.
God's sakes. I only dip my toe in the anime pool. I can't go full in like Emma does.
Yeah.
So, but the stuff I like. Like Batman Ninja. I'll defend Batman Ninja till I'm dead. I love that nutty fucking film.
That
Yeah.
makes that film was
It was
It's
so
off the
very
rails.
strange.
It was.
So off the rails.
It's a great Joker. Joker. All right. Yeah, Matt, what do we wrap up all the show? Tell the things. What do we got?
Nothing much. You already heard about the live shows and all of that. Thank you to all the people on Patreon that have supported us so steadfastly.
Yes.
We've grown so much in such a short amount of time, and it's all thanks to you. If you guys want to join Patreon, you go to patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. Hit us up there. Corrections from my brother. Apparently, I kicked him in the huevos more than once. I still contend that it was just once.
This is our last week's show.
But I ruptured one of my brothers
Oh.
At 6 years old.
at 6 or 7. It was
Yeah.
a game he made up where the winner got to kick the other in the balls.
Yeah.
And I got
Dudes,
to go
man.
first. Yeah. This is what stupid boys do.
Yeah.
But the TCBY part, that's when my mom figured out something was wrong, was watching him
Waddle
walk.
in to get the country's best
He walked
yogurt.
like he just got
Oh
off a
my
horse.
God.
And it's just- so he had to go into the ER and they had to drain it and all that jazz.
Dude, I used to get the strawberry yogurt with the fucking walnuts and the
Did I get chocolate
caramel.
and then M&Ms
Oh, at
on top of it?
TCBY,
Yeah.
yeah. I was very much just like a chocolate vanilla swirl
I'd do
kind
that
of
too.
situation. Chocolate sprinkles. I loved chocolate sprinkles.
All right,
I
respect.
don't think they actually taste any different than rainbow sprinkles.
No,
but
they don't.
Psychologically,
Yeah. They feel like they
Maybe.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, so head over to Patreon if you want to, join us over there. All the live shows that we brought up earlier, and you can follow me online at Matt Nost, and that's it.
Yeah. Go to our Facebook group. We always said that, right? We already
Yep.
said that. And if you want to randomly buy a T-shirt, you can do it at shop.spreadshirt.com/the top 10 number 10 there. See all the designs we got. If you want to buy a T-shirt for anybody for July 4th weekend, why not? Do it. All right, that's it. You can follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. See everything I'm doing. Please give some love to the Cinephiles, the other show I do, and the Geek Buddies. We're building on that one as well. Completely different show than the top 10. A lot of fun on that. If you want to give it a chance, go find it everywhere you download podcasts and all the Collider stuff I'm doing. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you next time on the Top 10 Show.